It's Thursday, January 11. I'm Anthony Davis. This is 5 Minute News. Barred from giving a formal closing argument, the disgraced former President Donald Trump seized an opportunity to speak in court at the conclusion of his New York civil fraud trial today, unleashing a barrage of attacks in a 6-minute diatribe before being cut off by the judge. Trump spoke as the judge was trying to find out if Trump would follow rules requiring him to keep his remarks focused on matters related to the trial. Asked whether he would comply with the guidelines, Trump defied the judge and simply launched into his speech. Judge Arthur Engoron, who earlier denied Trump's extraordinary request to give his own closing statement, let him continue almost uninterrupted for what amounted to a brief personal summation, then cut him off for a scheduled lunch break. Trump's in-court remarks, which were not televised, ensured a tumultuous final day for a trial over allegations that he habitually exaggerated his wealth on financial statements that he provided to banks, insurance companies, and others. New York Attorney General Letitia James sued Trump in 2022 under a state law that gives her broad power to investigate allegations of persistent fraud in business dealings. She wants the judge to impose $370 million in penalties and forbid him from doing business in New York. Adding to the day's tension, the exchanges took place hours after authorities responded to a bomb threat at the judge's house in the New York City suburbs. President Joe Biden's son pleaded not guilty today to federal tax charges filed after the collapse of a plea deal that could have spared him the spectacle of a criminal trial during the 2024 campaign. Hunter Biden has been accused of 9 felony and misdemeanor tax offenses. The charges stem from what federal prosecutors say was a 4-year scheme to skip out on paying the $1.4 million he owed to the IRS and instead use the money to fund an extravagant lifestyle that by his own admission included drugs and alcohol. The judge set a tentative trial date of June 20th during the half-hour-long hearing. The accusations come from a years-long federal investigation into Hunter Biden's tax and business dealings that had been expected to wind down over the summer with a plea deal in which he would have got 2 years probation after pleading guilty to misdemeanor tax charges. He would also have avoided prosecution on the gun charge if he stayed out of trouble. The deal unraveled when a federal judge who'd been expected to approve the deal instead began to question it. Now the tax and gun cases are moving ahead as part of an unprecedented confluence of political and legal drama. As the 2024 election draws closer, the independent Justice Department is actively prosecuting both the president's son and Donald Trump, the Republican front-runner. Britain and the US are poised to launch strikes against Houthi military targets in Yemen, as the leader of the rebel group promises to respond to any assault with fresh attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Western defense sources indicated preparations were intensifying today in response to a Houthi attack of 21 missiles and drones aimed at US and UK warships on Tuesday night, although its scale and timing remain a secret. Asked about the potential U.S. strikes against the Houthis in Yemen, the national security spokesperson John Kirby said, "I'm not going to telegraph our punches one way or the other. We are going to do what we have to do to counter and defeat these threats that the Houthis keep throwing up on commercial shipping in the Red Sea." On Wednesday, Antony Blinken, the U.S. Secretary of State, said there would be consequences following the Houthi attack. In response, Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the leader of the Iran-backed group which controls the north and west of Yemen, said today that if struck, the Houthis would fight back, suggesting any conflict in the Red Sea could be extended. Experts believe the US, UK and other Western allies are most likely to target coastal radar and launch sites in a calibrated attempt to halt the 3-month spate of Houthi missile and drone attacks in the busy Middle Eastern waterway. I'm Anthony Davis. Click the links in the description below to become a member of the 5 Minute News community on YouTube or Patreon and help support independent, unbiased and essential news for the US and across the world.